For 2 millennia, it was just a prophecy. But now everything is changing. Many believe the construction of the Third Temple is one of the most significant prophetic events pointing to the end times. But how close are we really? You're about to discover 10 real-world developments that prove the Third Temple is no longer just a vision, it's becoming a reality. And when we reach number 10, you'll understand why this isn't merely a religious issue, it's a coming geopolitical shockwave. Preparation. 1. The arrival of the red heifers. What if I told you that 5 flawless red heifers just arrived in Israel, and they may be the final requirement before the Third Temple can rise? You've heard the prophecies, the whispers, but now it's happening. The Bible describes an ancient ritual, lost to time for nearly 2,000 years. It centers around a perfect red heifer, no blemishes, no yoke. Why? Because the ashes of that heifer are essential for purifying the Jewish priests to enter the temple. Without it, temple worship cannot begin. And for the unclean person, they shall take of the ashes of the burnt heifer of purification for sin. That's scripture. And now, the heifers are here. Not 1, but 5, raised in Texas under strict rabbinic supervision, flown into Israel in September 2022. They were thoroughly inspected, not even 2 hairs of a wrong color allowed. And when they passed, they were welcomed with song and dance. Most of the world didn't notice, but those who study prophecy held their breath. Daniel 8:14 declares, "Then shall the sanctuary be cleansed." This isn't a ritual, it's prophecy unfolding. And in 2 Thessalonians, we read that the man of sin, the Antichrist, will sit in the temple of God, declaring himself divine. But that can't happen until the temple exists. And the temple can't exist without the red heifer. So what happens next? 1 heifer will be chosen. The sacrifice will occur, likely on the Mount of Olives. The ashes will be preserved and used to sanctify the temple site. Construction, or at least dedication, can begin. And here's the shocking part. The Temple Institute has announced its intent to perform this ritual before Passover. Not next year, this year, months away. But there's more. Preparation. 2. Sacred vessels have been recreated. While the world's attention was elsewhere, skilled artisans in Jerusalem have been hard at work, recreating over 60 temple vessels, precisely as commanded in the Bible. Items unseen since the Second Temple's destruction in 70 AD. Let's talk about the golden menorah. 95 pounds of pure gold. Estimated cost, $2 million. And it's not a museum piece. It's fully functional, ready to be used in temple rituals. This isn't a one-off. This is the largest collection of biblically mandated vessels made since ancient times. Trumpets crafted to match the exact tones and numbers. Incense burners designed to handle the exact spice recipe from Exodus. Measuring tools calibrated to the Torah's standards. But vessels need priests. Preparation 3. The priestly training program. You're witnessing something that hasn't happened in 2 millennia. Descendants of the tribe of Levi undergoing priestly training. At a special school in Mitzpe, Jericho, Kohanim and Levites are learning how to carry out sacred temple services exactly as prescribed in Scripture. In 2015, these students reenacted the Passover offering, the first time it had been done correctly in 2,000 years. Imagine reviving rituals your ancestors haven't performed since the days of Herod, and they're not stopping there. Preparation 4. Architectural blueprints are complete. What you're seeing isn't a concept. It's a fully detailed, construction-ready blueprint for the Third Temple, built to modern building standards with HVAC systems, electricity, and plumbing, a true fusion of biblical command and modern engineering. There's also a 150 scale model already on display in Jerusalem, complete in every detail, from the Holy of Holies to the priest's court, the altar, and the chamber of the Sanhedrin. This isn't just religious symbolism, it's an operational plan. Preparation. 5. The high priest garments are ready. These garments have been carefully recreated over more than a decade. Each component, from the blue robe to the golden crown, matches Exodus 28 exactly. Let's focus on the breastplate. 12 authentic gemstones, each engraved with the name of one of Israel's tribes. Real emeralds, real sapphires, real diamonds. The gold work took over 2 years. But here's the dilemma. Only one man can wear these, the high priest, and the process to select him has already begun. Preparation 6. The altar stones have been collected. In 2010, representatives from the Temple Institute journeyed to the Dead Sea to hand-pick stones for the Third Temple's altar. Why there? Because the stones needed to be untouched by metal, just as instructed in Deuteronomy 27:5. No iron tools, just natural stones gathered by hand. These are the same kinds of stones Moses would have used, untouched for thousands of years, and now they wait for construction. Preparation 7. Sanhedrin Chamber. Design, most people don't even know what this is, but the Sanhedrin was, and now is, the supreme religious court of Israel. And they've already reconvened. Their new chamber has been designed to replicate the chamber of hewn stone from the Second Temple. Picture a council of 71 elders, seated in a semicircle, surrounded by biblical imagery and a central fountain for ritual purity. They're not waiting, they're preparing. Preparation 8. The Levitical choir is performing again. Temple worship isn't just rituals and sacrifices. It's music, sacred songs passed down through generations. And now those ancient melodies are being revived. The Levitical choir performed Psalm 27 during Sukkot at the southern wall of the Temple Mount. For the first time in 2,000 years, the soundtrack of the temple echoed in Jerusalem once again. Preparation 9. The crimson dye has been rediscovered. For centuries, the recipe for the crimson dye used in temple textiles was lost, but now it's been found. Professor Zohar Amar identified the ancient method using a specific worm species mentioned in rabbinic texts. The result? The exact biblical crimson, restored, used for the priest's garments, the temple curtain, and the red heifer purification ceremony. A color gone for 2 millennia, now back. And all of this brings us to the final and most explosive development. Preparation 10. Political momentum is building. Since 1967, Jewish prayer on the Temple Mount was heavily restricted. Now, tens of thousands ascend the Mount annually, openly praying and worshiping. This isn't a slow shift, it's rapid and it's unstoppable. 4 red heifers are ready, priests are trained, vessels are complete, blueprints finalized, political support rising, and intelligence agencies are asking, when will the ceremony occur? If everything's ready, what's stopping it? Let's talk about the barriers, because they are real. Obstacle 1, the Dome of the Rock. This is the biggest challenge. The Islamic Dome of the Rock sits exactly where the First and Second Temples once stood. Built in 691 AD, it's one of the holiest sites in Islam. No Jewish construction is permitted on the mount. Any attempt would spark outrage, or worse. But prophecy says the temple will rise, which means something must fall. Obstacle 2. Political pressure rebuilding the temple could ignite a firestorm. The United Nations would condemn it. Nations could threaten war. So most Israeli leaders tread carefully. They delay, they avoid. But what if the chaos is the plan? Prophecy doesn't wait for peace. It thrives in crisis. Obstacle 3. Division among Jews. Not all Jews agree. Some are secular, some ultra-Orthodox. Some say it must wait for the Messiah. Others say the time is now. Without unity, no temple can rise. But one event, a war, a sign, a miracle, could unify them instantly. Obstacle 4. Global religious tension. The Third Temple impacts all 3 major Abrahamic religions. For Muslims, it's provocation. For Jews, fulfillment. For Christians, a prophetic countdown. Religious leaders everywhere are watching closely. And there was given me a reed. Rise and measure the temple of God. Revelation 11:1. Obstacle 5. Spiritual warfare. This isn't just political or religious. It's spiritual. Satan fears this temple because it means time is running out. He knows Scripture. He knows what comes next. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, Ephesians 6:12. Resistance is always strongest before a breakthrough. So what happens now? The dome may fall, or be bypassed. A political deal might be struck. The Jewish people could unite, the enemy could be restrained, and then the temple rises, stone by stone, priest by priest, sacrifice by sacrifice. When the temple returns, the world changes. The celebration will be great, but the confrontation will be greater. Because when the temple stands, the countdown begins.